Interesting thought process.
That's a great question.
Oh, that's really hard. Oh my God, I didn't realize it was going to be like this.
Wow, that's a good question.
Another good but difficult question.
Welcome to Casual Conversations with your host, Mike Oppenheim. Hey everybody, and welcome to a Casual Conversations meets Coffin Talk podcast. Today I'm going to talk about something kind of weird, but I am inspired to talk about it because it's something I think about all the time, which is I'm going to answer the question, am I a good person? And I think this is a question we should all ask ourselves, and I think we should ask it of ourselves way before we start talking about how other people are or are not good people, because I have a funny feeling that if most of us were to self-investigate, are we a good person, the answer would be what I came up with, which is it's complicated. So let's start with what makes a person good or bad. I think the actions that are associated with you are what would define how other people perceive you as being good or bad. Meanwhile, we have thoughts inside of our head, and we can keep these thoughts in and never act on them, or we can keep them in and act on them. But either way, I'm not so sure if your thoughts really have to do with whether or not you're a good or bad person. And that's kind of what I'm always at the end of the day trying to figure out is I got this brain, and I think I associate my thoughts with that brain, but I'm not even sure if that's accurate or true. I could be associating them with consciousness or with other words or other pseudoscientific terms that none of us have figured out in any branch of science. Other people in many sciences have claimed they have, but there's no universal consensus for where do thoughts come from? Are they in our brain? Are they from our brain? Are you hearing your inner monologue, or are you thinking it? You can hear a song, you can think of a song. Are you relating to this? I know I would be relating to it, so I guess I'm alienating some of you and I'm bringing others in, but either way, I'm fascinated by all this. I'm fascinated by the fact that I can have a conversation in my head. I can say, like, that was dumb, Mike, and I'm referring to myself, and then I can have another voice be like, yeah, but he blah, blah, blah. But really, I'm the one orchestrating these two voices, right? And I'm not talking about hearing voices. I'm not talking about hearing a foreign, or at least what you associate as a foreign entity in your own head. I'm talking about how you can just create, like, a drama in your head. Like, you can go back through the day and be like, oh, I wish I'd said that, or you can replay a conversation, and you can even play what the other person did because it's based on your memory. And if I write a screenplay or a book or even an essay, a lot of times I'm just hearing this rambling like introduction to an essay, and then I kind of get home and I try to rewrite it or write it from memory. Rarely will I memorize it and then commit it to memory and write it, although that has happened a few times. If like the phrase is really important, I'll even take out my phone or a notepad and give it to myself. But the point is, if I have a thought, like, I wonder how old this person is, and I'm thinking it because they look really old, and I'm like, wow, they look like they might have died already. That's like a mean thought if you know the person, love the person, or you know that they're vain or they care about how they look, and you know that it would offend them to say that. But is it really make me a bad person, even if that thought is bad? What if I had thought like I should kill that person? I don't normally, or really that I can remember, have like violent thoughts like that. But if I did, I could see how that would start to disturb me and disturb my sense of self and like, who am I and why am I here, and am I a good person? So I think asking ourselves if we're a good or bad person is not really the point if you're going to talk about thoughts. I know that I swept through that pretty fast as a subject, but I don't think there's a lot to talk about it. If you have thoughts that you think are bad and you don't act on them, then I don't know. First of all, I would really question, are you your thoughts, and are those thoughts you? And I have plenty of thoughts all the time, every day, that say you suck, you're not good enough, your friends don't like you. And then I have like self-aggrandizing thoughts too. People like you, you're good, you're really good at this. And then I have thoughts that are like, well, if you're good at this, why didn't you achieve this? So to me, I just look at this ego, this consciousness, this whatever alter ego of mine that I take battle with every day. I look at it as an annoyance, but also something that I have to live with. Like if I'm driving my car, I'm aware that like somehow in all of that, there's like the ego is important in like keeping the car going while I have other thoughts. So you can have thoughts while you do things, which means you are more than just those thoughts, and you're also more than just those actions. Again, I think most of the people listening or watching have driven a car. It's pretty amazing that you can drive a car and space out and forget the last 20 minutes, and yet you've been driving and you've been passing cars, using a blinker and all that kind of stuff. That's actually pretty amazing if you think about it. It's pretty amazing that you can go to work and you can forget about a couple hours of the day while you're working, and yet you're helping customers maybe, or you're filling out forms. You can read a book and you can forget that you read the last 20 pages, and then you can go back to read the 20 pages, and there'll just be these weird points where you'll be like, this is a waste. I read this. I remember this, but you don't remember the experience of reading it. So you go back to read so you can have the experience of the memory of the experience of reading. Yeah. This is how I think. This is what I think a lot. So I don't know if you're like me and you think this way, or if this just sounds crazy, but either way, I don't think I'm a bad person. I'm going to start there. I'm not going to say I'm a good person, because I really don't know about that, but I am going to say I don't think I'm a bad person. And this is how I'm going to define being bad. I think you're a bad person if people you love and people you trust are wary of you or telling you that maybe you should change your behavior, and instead of considering that or even making efforts to do that, you actually don't care, and you just continue to plow through life offending and upsetting these people that you care about. I'm going to get into the next category later, which is people you don't care about or you don't think you care about. But for now, I'm going to isolate this to, I sort of think you're a bad person if you love your family and your family is begging you to stop like being hostile and yelling at them, and you're not stopping or considering stopping or making an effort to hear them and change with them for them. I think that could make you a bad person. Does it make you a bad person? I don't know. I think it could, because I think if you're willingly doing things that upset people you like and care about, I kind of think the word bad would be associated with that. I certainly would not say that that makes you a good person. Let's talk about what I think would make you a good person. I think a good person does things in spite of a lack of desire to do it that they know are good for other people. So I think good people are people who would much rather ignore their kids and laze around and watch TV while their kids do whatever they want, but instead they turn off the TV, they don't laze, and they go and play with their kids and try to make a constructive childhood for their children. I bring this one up because I am both of those. Sometimes I just can't handle how tired I am and how much work I've already put into the day, including my children, and I just want to lounge out. So I don't ignore my children. I'm there, but I'm not like as into it as I could be. And I know that if I were a better person, if I were a really good person, I feel like I would be making that extra effort. I feel like I'd be stepping up. And there's days where I do step up. So that's why I would say like some days I feel like I'm a better person than others. But again, I think